evening, Twitch.tv, and good evening, 2MB Studios and all the audience members therein. My name is Misinformation. I am the host of this show called That Sounds Right because I am a trivia master. I'm the kind of trivia master that can win every time at my own game because I don't care about correct answers. I just assign points the way I think sounds right, which really, according to me, Misinformation is the best way to do trivia. Thank you, chat, for noticing my new background. It's for 1 week only, limited edition, so please enjoy this background. With me, as always, is my co-host, my wonderful co-host and best friend, Will, actually. Will, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Misinformation, how are you?
Thank you for saluting me as host of this show. Happy to see you. Happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm glad to be here with you. There are some times where I feel like you aren't going to invite me back, but you always do, and it's just an honor to be here with you.
Will, I need you here every week. I need you here with me because you're my best friend, and you give me emotional support if I'm feeling nervous, and you make me happy every time I see you come on screen. The one issue, of course, is that I just disagree with everything that you usually say on my show.
This is true. We're starkly on the opposite sides of almost every issue, but we can still remain friends. And that's, I think, a good lesson for the rest of America.
Right. Yeah. Because you, of course, Will, are on the side of facts, figures,
truth.
Statistics. Yeah, the truth. Right, of course. And I, of course, am on the side of misinformation. Me.
And what sounds
my
right.
own side. Right. And what I think and what I believe and what I want to give points to.
Yeah. Here we go again, audience. Hope you're ready for this one.
Here we go again. I sure am. I'm ready to dole out some points however I see fit tonight. My contestants that I have here tonight are ready to give some answers. And some of those answers are going to be correct, maybe. And some of them are going to be absolute nonsense. Just make it up, make them ups. And for me, Misinformation, my job, of course, is to discern with the help of you, my audience, what sounds right. So I hope you can help me with that. And I sometimes listen. So let's bring in our contestants. We've got Rob here tonight. Rob, thanks for being here.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, is that a new background that I notice?
You know, it is. It is. For tonight, I do have a brand new background. I'm feeling pretty good about it. You know, I've gotten some compliments from the chat, so.
It's pretty nice looking.
Thank you. Thank you. Rob, what is, aside from complimenting me and my background, what is your strategy tonight to win this game?
Well, last time I was on the show, I lost pretty bad.
Okay.
So I'm just here to have a good time. I'm here to make friends. You know, I'm going to Sun Tzu them, make them think I'm weak but be very strong, but also be a good friend. That's my plan. Great.
So be a friend and manipulative.
Yes.
Excellent, Rob. That sounds like a good strategy. It's worked before. Let's see it play out again. Tonight, we've got John on the roster. How you doing, John?
Oh, I'm doing great. Misinformation. That's an awesome new background, by the way.
Thank you so much. John, what's your strategy tonight?
Well, I'm so blessed that this is my third appearance on this show. It's like my favorite show, and I'm thrilled to be back. In my first two shows, I have lost badly each time. And the old adage is 2 data points make a trend. So if we follow the historical trend, I am destined to lose a third time. So my goal is to strengthen the friendships and the air of camaraderie that will be in this game show.
Wow.
And as I go down with the ship, I would like to stare at the heavens and think about what may have been in another world.
Wow. That sounds terrific, John. I hope that tonight you're able to spite destiny and take home a win. Let's see how that plays out, and let's meet our third contestant, Ryan. Welcome back, Ryan.
Hello. Great to be here. Wonderful background, everyone.
Great to have you, Ryan. I see that you have some books in your background.
Yes, these are real books. This is my true library. I would take one, but they're so old and so rare that were I to touch one, the leather and vellum would crumble in my hands.
Wow.
They're
Well,
merely
Ryan,
for show.
as you know, on this show, whether or not you've read those books won't help you, but the appearance of them, now that's another story. I'm already feeling pulled in some kind of direction here because of how studious your appearance is.
And an ass to you, other David Thomas.
And an ass to you. Let's dive in, folks, shall we? We've got three contestants here, 3 returners. We've all been on the show before. Has anybody won this show before?
No.
I have a bachelor's.
Wow. Okay. Ryan has a bachelor's
Going for
degree,
my master's today.
Oh.
Ryan, thank you for reminding me. Ryan
With
is
the
going
big
for his
floppy hat.
master's degree with 2MB Studios. It's 2MB University, our prestigious university here at the studios, at the channel. And Ryan is currently an undergraduate graduate. What do you call that? Bachelor's. You already said
yes,
that.
I have a bachelor's. I'm dressed in my academic casual. It is outside of the normal semester seasons.
And Judd, Rob, and Chris are still undergraduate students. They are not graduates. They have never graduated. They have never had a diploma in
Not
their
even an
lives.
associate. Not even an associate.
No, they've won nothing so far. So Ryan, of course, is starting out as sort of in the lead here, so to speak, maybe with who we think might win, but it's anybody's game because, of course, what matters here is sounding right.
I'd like to think that Ryan's the the floor chaperone who's like getting his master's, and we're the undergrads, and we're like trying to hide. Like cats aren't allowed, but we're like hiding a cat in the dorm. So
it's cool. Just don't make noise. Just don't make the residence director come down and get on my ass, because then I have to take it out on you.
We're friends with the RA. He's cool that we have a cat, but he doesn't know technically that we have a cat.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah. And this
is a great dynamic.
To address the chat, no elbow patches today. Like I said, academic casual. We're outside of the semester season.
He's off duty tonight. He's off duty. Yeah. That's why he's not going to.
It's summer break here at 2MB University, so we get a little casual. Let's dive into our first question, folks. For the audience, we're going to hear one correct answer that the contestant has planned to give to this question. The other 2 are going to be making it up. First time they're hearing the question. Let's see what we come up with. The first question of the first round is, in the 1980s, punk rock was banned in Cuba. Punk kids were beaten up, thrown in jail, and hit with heavy fines. As an act of protest, the Cuban band Los Fricos did something extreme that stopped the government from bothering them. What was it? All right, so long question here. Basically, we've got punk rock banned in Cuba. Los Fricos, they pulled something to get the government off of their case here with that punk rock. Rob, let's go to you first. What's your answer? What did they do?
So this band did something pretty extreme because it was in the 1980s during the HIV epidemic. And so what they did is they actively injected themselves with HIV so that they would be put in sanitariums where the government would not deal with them, but the Ministry of Health would give them endless amounts of food and never bother them at all so they could play punk rock.
Wow, they were really dedicated to their craft.
They were so dedicated, and it was also an act of protest because then they said the government can't control their bodies. Only they can control their bodies, even if it's completely self-destructive, which is weirdly punk rock.
You know, that's an extreme answer, Rob, but you backed it up. You gave some details all around. That's a strong answer, I think, for this show coming out of the gate. John, let's hear your answer. What did these punk kids do?
So Cuba, and now this is something that continues today, by the way. Cuba is close enough to southern Florida that people can pick up with a strong enough radio receiver American radio stations. Mm-hmm. And so what Los Fricos did was they set up a portable radio receiver on the beach, recorded 3 days, like clandestinely at night, recorded 3 days worth of Miami rock and roll and Miami punk music. Mm-hmm. And then they spent literally everything they had. They traded away their assets, what little they had, to record as many bootleg tapes as they possibly could. And they distributed them to literally everybody they knew and everybody they didn't know. So essentially, they wanted to steer into the contraband because punk music was not allowed because the majority of it was coming from the United States and it was non-approved material.
Right.
So what they did is they said, if all of us have contraband, none of us have contraband. So that was the story there. And what ended up happening was they successfully argued in kind of the court of public opinion that if they were to bust us for our contraband, they would have to arrest neighbors and grandmothers and bakers and everybody else. So
they recorded all the punk rock they could from the Florida radio, and they distributed it. That makes sense. That makes sense.
8,000 or 10,000 copies too. Something insane.
Listen, a lot of work, but it pays off if you get to have your punk rock, of course. Ryan, let's hear your answer.
Yeah. So what it actually was. Cuba being a small but pretty high-profile communist country at the time, to get the government off their backs, they not only did they dress up as, but they basically impersonated socialist and communist heroes. So the lead singer, Wilson Alvarez, dressed up as Che Guevara. We had I can't remember the rest of the band members' names, but the bass player was obviously Fidel Castro. There was a Karl Marx in the band and Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. And not only that, but they got somebody to, what was his name? It was, his first name was Angel, but he was an effects designer in Hollywood at the time. It was Cuban American. Got him to come back to Cuba. And this guy designed like rubber masks, basically to kind of peel away like Mission Impossible style masks. These guys went around and lived their lives for like 5 years as Che Guevara, Fidel Castro, Vladimir Lenin, and Karl Marx. And it was the symbol of that was so untouchable in Cuban propaganda that the government didn't want to risk the PR nightmare of arresting the real Che Guevara, the real Lenin.
Right. Like the optics of that would be too troubling. And they would play music like that?
Yeah, they would play shows like that. And there's an album, they have an album where all of their lyrics are ostensibly pro-communist messages. That now, being punk music, it was tongue-in-cheek, but the literal lyrics were such that they wouldn't get them in trouble if you just read them on a page.
Right. Interesting. Wow, that's some sneaky stuff. That's some smart thinking. We've got 3 strong answers here. We've got Rob's answer, they infected themselves with HIV. John's answer, they recorded the Florida radio waves and distributed the material. Or Ryan, they like dressed up as like leaders of communism.
They live their lives as
just fully like for breakfast, like they go out, they grab a beer, they're wearing these masks.
Beer was hard to come by at the time, but yes, yeah.
Wow. We've got a little bit of a split in the chat. These are 3 strong answers to come out the bat. I'm gonna go with the one that's true. Yeah, great point, chat. Great points all around. I'm going to start the show. I'm going to go with the most straightforward answer, the one that just legally makes the most sense, is to do everything by the radio waves under the table. I'm going to agree with Exploding Lobster in the chat here. I'm going to have 5 points to John. 5 points to John to start the evening. Ding, 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 ding. We are giving points to John for downloading the radio, recording the radio waves from Florida, because if everybody has it, nobody has it. That is the way the law works. It sounds right to me.
Well, that's incorrect. Unfortunately, this information, starting off on the wrong foot. It was Rob's answer. They infected themselves with HIV.
Wow. Yeah.
100% true.
You had some support in the chat for that, Rob. That's an extreme answer.
It
is. Are they still alive?
No, there's I think 1 remaining member alive. I think it's Los Freakies. I think I misspelt it in the chat, but I didn't want to like correct myself.
Well, if we were talking about Los Freakies,
no, they are.
Those guys wore like latex Hollywood masks.
Yeah.
They really, Ryan. Ryan, I really liked that answer. I gotta say, I wasn't seeing support in the chat for it, but I was really taken by that.
Well, if you were worth points, I'd say thank you.
Wow. Folks, great, really strong round. Let's move on to the second question. Second question of round 1 is, why is Baltimore Orioles second baseman Billy Ripken's Fleer 1989 baseball card prized by collectors? Okay, that's the Baltimore Orioles second baseman Billy Ripken, 1989. And I don't know what Fleer means, but it says that word in the question as well, if that means something to you. Let's go to John. John, why is this baseball card so valued by collectors?
Are we allowed to curse?
Well, oh, yes, please.
Okay. Billy Ripken was holding a bat. This was a batter's box picture, like smiling baseball card picture.
Yes.
On the bottom of his bat was the phrase "fuckface" on there, plain as day. And the Fleer baseball card photographer took a picture of it. It went to print. It's out there in the world. And when they caught the mistake, like a later edition, they wiped it out. But there were thousands and thousands of fuckface Billy Ripkens floating around.
Oh, that's incredible. That's really good.
And I personally have always wanted to get one, and I've never been able to. But that is why. And it was a warm up bat, a practice bat, which is why he had fuckface.
Got it. I had a flashback to last week. I thought you were going to say it said ass on the bottom of the bat, on the ass of the bat, if you will. I like that answer, John. Ryan, let's go to you. What's your answer?
So Billy Ripken, misinformation. Are you a baseball fan?
Of course.
Okay. Have you heard of Cal Ripken?
Yeah.
So Billy Ripken is Cal Ripken's brother, and they played on the same team. For the Baltimore Orioles. Cal Ripken played his whole career on the Baltimore Orioles. Billy Ripken was his less successful younger brother, I believe, played second base. Cal played shortstop. They were up the middle. And when they decided to take this picture for the Fleer 1989 card, they decided to pull a prank. So it is a picture of Billy Ripken. No, sorry, it's a picture of Cal Ripken in Billy Ripken's clothes. Now, Billy Ripken's about 8 inches shorter than Cal. So it is a picture of Cal Ripken, and Cal was already going gray at the time. Like, you see later pictures of him, there's sort of the classic horseshoe male pattern baldness. At the time, it was thinning, and he was graying. He, shoe polished his hair black, and he's in just this tiny uniform that's up to his shoulders with, a little kid's glove, and he's doing this. And if you look in the background in the taking fielding practice, is Cal Ripken out of focus in the background.
So the baseball card that we're talking, the baseball card in question, is it that Cal Ripken is in the background, or the card itself is just not straight up not a picture of Billy Ripken? Because
there are so few goof cards of. No, it's not Billy Ripken. It's Cal Ripken.
It's Cal Ripken in the picture.
Yes. And Billy Ripken is in the background. So they're both in it. So technically, it's a Billy Ripken card. It says Billy Ripken on it, and it's just not many baseball cards are goofs. Like, baseball players are not very funny people. Usually, they kind of are. You've got your Turk Wendells and such out there, but
sure.
They're, when they're taking baseball card photos, it's not something they want to do. They just want to get it over with. But these guys had fun with it, and it's just a shoe polished hair Cal Ripken in a tiny uniform with a tiny glove.
That's it. It's just a goof card. It's just brothers goofing on that card.
Yeah.
I like that. I didn't know that those two brothers were on the same team. That's nice. I wonder if they probably played up together when they were growing up, practicing in the backyard and stuff. Cute story, Ryan. I like a cute story. That's how the Otters won last week. Rob, let's hear your answer.
So this specific card is actually allegedly the reason the Fleer baseball company or their Fleer card company went out of business. There was a misprint on the card that offended Billy Ripken. It was effectively what happened is there was a misprint in the way it was like silk screened, where his face was like distorted and it made him look incredibly ugly. And Billy Ripken is notoriously vain. And when he found out about this, he sued the heck out of the Fleer card trading company, and they went completely out of business for it. So actually, it's not that just the Baltimore Orioles second baseman Billy Ripken card is valuable. All of those printings of cards are valuable. That one's just the most valuable because it has the story that goes along with it because of Billy Ripken putting a whole company out of business over a very small printing error.
Oh, this is tricky night for me. Lots of great sounding answers. Lots of even maybe right sounding answers. John, of course, fuckface. We have Ryan with brothers goofing, another story I love. And
goof.
Rob with an answer that really makes sense. Misprint. Billy Ripken hated it, sued the company, and it's out. Everybody in the chat is really taken with fuckface. So I think, I sometimes if I don't agree with the chat, I'll just, I might do my own thing. I'm the host of the show. That's my privilege. But tonight, we've got fuckface is trending on the sidebar right now. So I'm going to have to give 5 more points to John. For fuckface. I think that's definitely the most profane a single question has been on the show, and I love it. So let's give it to fuckface.
Fuckface it is. John gets those points. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Points for a correct answer to John.
Really awesome.
Yeah. Well done, John.
Yeah, three impressive ansers, but
Okay.
It's really hard to compete with that truth.
Apparently,
Turnabout's fair play.
I know.
That was my submission, but last time I was on the show, I did accidentally scoop Kenny's answer. So
wow.
And it was sports related.
What a great answer. Everybody, really great round. Let's get that third question in here. Third question, first round, is the 2 most expensive hotel rooms in the world both have odd sounding names. What and where are they? Okay, so what we're looking for here is these are the 2 most expensive hotel rooms in the world. We're looking for the name of number 1 and the location of number 1 and the name of number 2 and the location of number 2. I think that seems to be the case here. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan, for an answer. What are the 2 most expensive hotel rooms called, and where are they?
So the second most expensive is at the top of the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and it's called. I had to pull it because I just liked it. It's called the Petronas Bonus, and it goes for $220 a night. It is at the top. So the Petronas Towers are like a twin tower that's kind of vaguely reminiscent of...
I'm sorry, Ryan. You said it goes for $225 a night?
No, $225,000 a night. $225,000 a night.
I was like, that can't be enough.
But did I forget to say $1,000? No, $225,000 a night. $225,000 a night.
And it's called the Petronas Bonus Room?
The Petronas Bonus Room, yeah. So it's like it's the entire top floor of the South Tower of the Petronas Towers, and it's there's like 4 bathrooms in there. Everything is marble. It's classic gaudy hotel. The first one is in the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, obviously, but the name, it's called Al Khach, which is which basically means the ruler's suite. So it's at the top of the Burj Khalifa, which is, if I don't think it is anymore. I think at one point it was the tallest tower in the world, and that one goes for $310 a night if the conversion is right.
Wow.
And it's a similarly
$10.
gaudily appointed hotel room, entire floor.
I can't wait to look at pictures of these hotel rooms. I'm getting excited for it already. Ryan, thank you for that answer. Rob, let's hear your answer. What are these hotel rooms called? Where are they?
So the first one, which I believe is the most expensive one. I don't know fully the number, but it was roughly around the 2,300,000. It is the Crapo family, which they were a Michigan politician family, which now owns a bunch of funeral homes, but is basically made all their money on investing. They actually are huge philanthropists that invested in the Louvre in France. And so there is only 1 to 2 hotel rooms that you can have in the actual Louvre of France. And they're called the Crapo Suite, which just looks like Crapo Suite. If you look, there's no way to look at it other than it's the Crapo Suite. And it's about like 200,000 US dollars. I don't know the conversion from the French currency, the euro, but it is one of the most expensive. The second one is in Singapore, and it's in the tallest building in Singapore, the Guoco Tower. And this one was actually a French investor who invested in lots of property in Singapore. Mm-hmm. And their last name was Toilette, which you can imagine. It looks like toilet. It is the Toilette Suite in the tallest tower in Singapore, roughly around 300,000 a day to rent in USD.
So we've got the toilet room and the Crapo room. Okay, great.
Now, there was a theme to the 2 rooms. They should be, they're in different places, but there is a theme to them for a reason.
Cohesive answer, Rob. Yes. Thank you. Very nice. Let's hear from John. John, what are these rooms called? Where are they?
Sure. So this is kind of a one if by land, 2 if by sea answer. The second most expensive is in the Palms Casino in fabulous Las Vegas in the middle of the desert. It is called the Empathy Suite. It costs $100,000 a night. That is consistent throughout the year. There is no high or low season. It's always $100,000. And the thing that makes it expensive is, in addition to like the opulent grandeur of the room and the views, because it's like the whole top of the Palms Casino, you get a private, among other things, you get a private tour of the Palms Art Museum. And so like literally like the curator of the museum will guide you through the museum. You have a butler, you have a valet, you get all these reservations.
Wow. Bit of a steal.
The great irony is it's called the Empathy Suite, and no one that can afford to stay there has any human empathy. The most expensive, and this is the 2 if by sea part, is a honest to goodness underwater luxury hotel built into a submarine, and it is called the Lover's Deep luxury submarine. It is moored in it. This is an affront to a loving God. Like, we deserve the world to end because this exists.
Lover's Deep?
It's called, the whole submarine is called the Lover's Deep. It's an actual submarine, like with a captain and like a crew and an air system. And it's $150,000 a night, but you have to book 2 people in there. And so it's really $300,000 a night to rent the whole thing. It leaves from St. Lucia, and this magical freaking submarine will, you can chart a course to whatever islands you want, and that's like part of it. So it's $300,000 a night, but you can't just stay for one night. You usually have to stay for a week. So it's like $1.5 million to be on a luxury submarine of your own, and it's an affront to God. It really. Okay.
We've got a range of answers here. The trouble is I really like Rob's answer, but this is also really something John would know. So this is tricky for me.
Are you like Patronus bonus?
No, actually, Ryan, I have to say, I was just about to say, I actually really like the Patronus bonus room. It's also good. I think I gotta go with Toilet and Crapo on this one. Fuckface took it last time, but let's go with Toilet and Crapo.
It's a sensible choice.
Really just high humor tonight. Absolute, just a classy game show we run here. 5 points to Rob.
Yeah.
For Crapo and toilet for sure.
Crapo and toilet.
Really misinformation?
Yeah. I actually thought that might be right. It made sense to me. why we'd be asking for the top two.
It was the Patronus bonus.
Patronus bonus. No.
It really was the Patronus bonus round?
No, John was right.
Oh my God.
It was John.
John was
I was
right.
like, this sounds like.
I can believe anything at this point. All those were ridiculous answers. Why would they call a hotel room the Empathy Suite?
That's so gross.
Because it's the
And
kind
the
of thing
Lover's
that
Deep.
it's the kind of thing that rich people in Vegas would do to lure other rich people to stay there. Like it's, but
Wow. It really wasn't Crapo and toilet. I really thought.
Henry H. Crapo was a real person, but I don't know what he did. I just he's a real person.
Okay. Well, Will is disappointed because the person who gave the correct answer did not get those points. But you know what? The person who gave a really right-sounding answer got those points. Rob, really deserving. So, Ryan, you're finishing up round 2 with no points.
Right.
And there's still time. There's still time.
Ryan, I am very sorry. It's just so rare that I get to loudly yell "fuckface" on.
We were talking beforehand. It's like we're gonna have a question that other people know the answer
Yeah.
to. I know.
Yeah. That was
That
the
was
one.
the one I had in mind. Yeah.
That's the show, folks. I can't believe, Ryan. So I think you really started off as the favorite to win, and you're coming out of that first round as a sort of underdog. Ryan, is there anything that you want to share with the audience before we move on to round 2?
Oh, if you haven't liked and subscribed the channel and you want to see more me in other articles of clothing, do that, because I'm on other shows. Friday at 9 Eastern, we've got 69 minutes of sex with me, which is not literally that, but it's dirty jokes for literally 69 minutes.
Expertly hosted, by the way,
in a velvet jacket and a bow tie. There's that, and I feel like some other plugs that I would be involved with would be forthcoming, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll get some other plugs coming up, I'm sure, that involve you, Ryan. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's move on to round 2. Round 2, question 1 is what is a Tertus Maximus? What is that? Okay, Rob, what is it? What's a Tertus Maximus?
A Tertus Maximus is an unfortunately named dinosaur that was discovered. It was named Tertus Maximus way before turd had the connotation of poop. It was one of the first dinosaur. One of the first dinosaurs to be postulated to exist. It actually doesn't exist. It's made up of mixed up bones, just like the long neck dinosaur. That's not a real dinosaur. The Tertus Maximus was a sort of raptor-like creature that they thought existed. One of the first sort of theorized dinosaurs that they named Tertus Maximus for Latin roots that I don't understand, but I thought it was very funny because it sounds like poop. So that was why Tertus Maximus exists. It is not an actual dinosaur, but it was one of the first dinosaurs theorized to exist.
Makes sense, Rob. Makes sense. Great answer. Great answer, Rob. John, what's a Tertus Maximus?
Okay. I was hoping to get to this one because I was scared that one of these two would know it, but I'm right in the middle. That's okay. A Tertus Maximus is a Roman legionary shield carried by someone called a triarii, which is a Roman legionary that served in the legion for a number of years. So, but before the Marian reforms, which is a whole other thing, you essentially your rank in the legion was based on the number of years you served. If you were a triarii, it means you were the oldest legionaries. You carried a Tertus Maximus, which is a large square shield with a big brass bulb in the middle. Behind it, you carried 4 things called Pile Maximus, which are throwing spears. So the Tertus Maximus, the Pile Maximus, and then your age was very Maximus as well. So it is a big shield that protected many an elderly legionary.
Just absolute Maximus.
To the Maximus.
Great answer. We've got a dinosaur, a shield, and Ryan, what's your answer? What's a Turdus Maximus?
So as much as I love to hear about the pre-Marian reforms manipular system of the Roman army, John is not right. Rob is sort of half right. Because the Turdus Maximus is, if you consider birds dinosaurs,
which we do.
So yes, then it's
on this
a dinosaur,
show we absolutely do.
But it is an extant dinosaur, a bird.
Yeah.
The Turdus Maximus is the scientific name for the Tibetan blackbird. So Turdus is Latin. It is Latin, but it is Latin for thrush. The type of bird. Also, the thing you can get on your tongue and other places, but those are different. But yes, it is. So it is a large thrush, which the Tibetan blackbird is.
Yeah.
And it lives in Tibet and surrounding regions.
Folks, if it's not your first time on this show, you'll probably have seen this before. Anytime somebody knows the Latin roots for something, they get the points. Ryan, you've got the points for knowing the Latin roots. 5 points to Ryan for Big Bird. Big Bird is what we're looking at here on Turdus Maximus. Probably not a dinosaur, probably not a shield. 5 years of Latin.
Convert to 5 points.
Yes.
It's gotta be John.
Anytime we hear that Latin come out on the show, that's 5. That's good for 5 points.
Will actually here, and that is correct.
Hey!
Blackbird.
I love to make Will actually happy. 5 points for a right sounding answer that happens to be right. Ryan,
John,
congratulations.
with the dick move of being like, I'm glad I get to go, so none of them get the right answer.
I didn't want to be a huge dick about it, but like a medium-sized dick about it.
Also talking about just
it's
one of my
strategy.
favorite things.
Yeah, I know. This was. I'm just lobbing heat-seeking missiles at Ryan right now.
We got a lot of shared interests here. Ryan, of course, is the degree holder here, so you're going to take a little heat for that, Ryan. Let's go to the second question on the second round, which is, in 1848, construction began on the Niagara Falls Suspension Bridge. To begin construction, engineers needed to secure a line across the 800-foot Niagara River chasm. In what unique way was this done? All right, so to begin construction, these engineers, they needed to put a secure line across the river. They did it in a unique way, special way to get this line across the river. John, how'd they do it?
Okay, so keep in mind the year here, 1848.
That's a long time ago.
Hugely long time ago. And it's really hard in 1848 to run a line over an 800-foot chasm. Like, if you think about all the ways you possibly can, none of them existed yet.
None.
And so essentially the way suspension bridges are built is you run a line over what you need to build, and then you attach a heavier line to that line and then run it back, and so on and so forth until you have the actual cable. And then you can build the bridge. So really the goal is to run a first small line. And to do that, the lead engineer held a kite flying contest. And honest to goodness youth kite flying contest, the reward being a whopping $5. And it was for any boy who could get a kite across the chasm and secure a rope to the other side. A bunch of people tried, a bunch of young kids with kites tried, but they all did it from the American side. And the way the winds worked, they were not having any luck. A 16-year-old named Homan Walsh did it by taking a ferry upriver, crossing to the Canadian side, heading back down to the chasm, and then flying a kite across from the Canadian to the American side.
Wow.
He did it on his second attempt, and he won the $5.
Wow. Do you have to get a work visa for that?
Back then, he did not because he was underage. However, after the first failed attempt, for whatever reason, it exhausted him to the point where he needed to stay in Canada for 3 days, which apparently caused... He literally was like, I am weary from this. And then he slept for 3 days and then tried it again. So I think there was some kind of issue with that, but he did get it on his second attempt after spending several days in Canada.
Perhaps he fell ill, or maybe he just liked looking at the falls. That's understandable as well. Ryan, what's your answer? How'd the engineers do this?
All right. So I'm actually now upset at John for bringing up Roman military stuff in the last question, because it's going to make this sound less accurate. But they tore a page out of the playbook of the Roman army and built a Scorpion. So a Scorpion is a giant torque ballista So they put a giant bolt with an arrowhead on it about, I think it was like 8 inches across, like this big, huge thing. Torqued this bad boy up. It had a big old rope on the other side of it, and shot a missile into Canada, and had it anchor on the other side. And
it's stuck in the ground.
Yeah, it's stuck in the ground, and then they had the line that would go. Basically, the force and the weight of the thing was able to sink it into the ground.
I've seen that in like 1,000 fantasy films. You'd shoot the arrow across with the line.
Yeah, but this is like a big. We've said fuckface, so a big fucking arrow.
Yeah, like a maximum
like
version of that.
Arrows.
A Billy Ripken baseball bat of arrows.
That would work.
Flying across the Niagara River.
That would work, Ryan. Sounds right. It sounds right. Rob, what's your answer? How'd the engineers do this?
So because of the unique geography of the Niagara River and the fact that Niagara Falls goes into the Niagara Gorge, what they had to do was actually similar to what John suggested in that it involved children. They used child labor. The way they did this, however, because Niagara is such a strong river, such a wide river, and also there's a giant waterfall, there has been several stories of people going down Niagara Falls in a barrel. Yeah. And engineers knew about this, so they decided this is how we do it. We're going to put a small child. This child's name was Gaston Dupuis. He was a French-Canadian citizen, and he was put in a barrel with a line of rope that was attached to an engineer at the top. And there is a small, at the end of the gorge, a small part of the gorge that they can actually land on, where they were hoping he would land. There was a big chance he wouldn't land there and just be swept into the gorge.
Right. But then luckily, he's already in the barrel.
And he's a child, and it's very early years where there is no laws for that. But the barrel, luckily, it did land there. They were able to secure it there. And then there is a small path, or not a path, but like basically a ravine. Not a ravine. What's the word I'm looking for? A small like mountain path.
Like an inlet?
Yeah, an inlet that he could easily navigate his way up to, and then they would have this very long rope across, hoping this all could have not worked because he went down Niagara Falls in a barrel, could have died, but for some miraculous reason, it worked out perfectly, and he was able to route both the initial rope and the corresponding cable that would come later back and forth.
So we've got child in a barrel, child with a kite, or blasted across the river.
Big fucking arrow.
Big fucking arrow. I think I got to go with the one that doesn't involve children here. I think I'm going to say engineers figured out a way that didn't involve asking a child for help. And I'm going to give 5 points to Ryan for big arrow. Goes across the river. You guys seen it. They did this in Emperor's New Groove, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. This is a classic move to fire the rope across.
They did
misinformation. It may be a classic move, but it's incorrect in this case. They had a small child fly a kite across. John was correct.
Oh, man.
Ryan, at least you did not besmirch the holy trebuchet with your lies.
No, of course, no. I don't think they developed it yet.
I'm glad it wasn't the child in the barrel, to be honest with you. Oh, boy. Let's hear the third answer, second round, third question, and your third answers of the second round. Question 3. During a recent restoration of the 18th century artwork, The Lord of Patience, it was discovered that this statue contained something unusual. What was discovered in the statue? Okay, the Lord of Patience, they found something inside the statue. What did they discover inside? Ryan, what is your answer?
So they discovered actual human blood inside of the Lord of Patience.
Oh.
So it's a sculpture. It's a Christ sculpture, and it's there. Oh God! There was actual human blood. There was human blood, and to this day, no one knows how it got there, because it's inside of a solid piece of marble, and there are no drill marks. There's no evidence as to how it got in there. But there was an accident one day. They were moving it. It fell. The arm came off, and like liquid was coming out of it, and there was human blood coming out.
Boy, oh boy, creepy answer.
Unsolved mystery.
I like it. I love an unsolved mystery. Let's go to Rob here. Rob, what's the deal? What was inside the statue?
So Ryan is close, but he is not completely correct. This is a Christ statue called the Lord of Patience. It's a 300-year-old statue of Christ in Mexico, and while it was being discovered, or while it was being restored, rather, they were doing some CT scans on it to figure out what was actually going on, and so on and so forth. This statue, by the way, is a very messianic, bloody mess of a statue. So they had to get everything right. They're basically trying to pinpoint where the pigments were so they could restore it correctly. In that CT scan, they noticed in the mouth of the Christ-like figure was actual human teeth, which sounds very weird because it is, but in that time, parishioners would occasionally donate their hair to the church for wigs and stuff. So they theorized that a parishioner was like, I'm dying. When I die, you can have my teeth. Please put it in Jesus, which is insane to think about, but probably for its time was probably a very normal sentence. But inside of its mouth, where this Jesus-like figure is smiling, is actual God to rights human teeth.
Okay. Human blood, human teeth, or John, what is your answer? What they find in the statue?
Ryan has a piece. Rob has a piece.
Oh, God. What did they find?
So you have to keep in mind, of course, that this is generally a surface level restoration. And this statue is carved from a single solid block of marble, which means that they're not hacking it apart to do stuff. They discovered via CT scan. They did a CAT scan on it. And what ended up happening was when you did it, they noticed something that was harder than the marble in the Lord of Patience's lower back. And so what happened was there was a very, very big debate about what to do because there is something harder than marble in the back, and it's covered in paint because this was a painted statue. And so there was a great tumult, and eventually, and with the blessing of a cardinal, they said, yes, you can essentially destroy the 3-inch by 3-inch section of lower back paint and see what's in it. And they
what was in it? What was it?
Baby teeth. It was a small, heavy. It was a small, heavy silver box with baby teeth, and the next debate was, do we genetically test these? The part that was screwed up is it was from multiple people.
Okay, let's give points. Blood, teeth, or baby teeth? The answer is obvious to me. Teeth. Regular teeth. Regular old one set of teeth. That is clear to me. That seems to be kind of the sweet spot, right in the middle. Blood, teeth, baby teeth. Split the difference. 5 points to Rob for there's teeth in this statue. Teeth.
Oh, well, actually here, and regular old human teeth is correct, not baby teeth. Rob is right.
Yeah, it's really weird.
You're really all signed on to this question. Okay. That's the end of the second round. We've tied it up. Folks. That's 10 to 10 to 10. 10 points for everybody. We've got also 10 minutes left in the show. So this next round, we're going to have 10 seconds. We're going on theme here. 10 points for everybody. 10 minutes left. We have 10 seconds for each answer from now on. I'm going to time you up. Rob, first, is there anything you want to tell the audience?
Yes, please subscribe to 2MB Studios. You can catch me and all three of these folks on, all four of these folks actually, on a show called The Knights of Prospect, where we do fantasy role-playing. That's all I want to plug. Also, subscribe to Adventure Incorporated podcast. That's the other one. Now I'm
nice. Good. Adventure Incorporated podcast, folks. Listen up. Round 3, question 1. Here we go. What does a gong farmer do? What does a gong farmer do? Rob, you got 10 seconds to explain to me what a gong farmer does.
A gong farmer is actually a rice farmer, but it's a very specific type of rice. It's a very specific grain of rice. It is a medium to short grain rice. It's called gong farmer because they call it gong rice because it's actually flatter rice than normal and rounder.
Thank you, Rob. John, you have 10 seconds. What is a gong farmer?
Specifically, it is a worm farmer farming something called gong worms. They have a flattened head. The worm looks like a spoon. They cultivate them in nutrient-rich soil, and then they send them all over the world.
Excellent. Ryan, what is a gong farmer?
Gong farmer are those poor unfortunate souls in medieval and Renaissance times who were tasked with cleaning out cesspits and getting rid of the night soil, the human excrement out of cesspits, and yeah, that's what they called it, and bringing it down to Dung Wharf and just dumping it in the river.
Wow. 3 really strong answers. I'm going to go ahead and go with rice. Flat, round rice. Flat, round rice.
Flat, round rice.
Right.
Flat, round rice.
I'm regretting this. I'm regretting this.
Wrong.
As soon as I'm trying to go on instinct here, and as soon as I said it, this is the one time I'll say that was not the right thing to do.
It was very tough.
You finally admitted misinformation. Ryan was correct on that one.
That's so funny.
You're not going to
As soon
pick the
as I
poop.
said flat, round
You're not going to
rice,
pick the poop.
Poop in Latin words. That's what you're going to go with.
I should have
They're
known.
like little gongs, Rob.
That's right.
They're so
As soon as I said it, I usually really stick to my guns on
Stick
who
to
I
your
give
gongs.
points to, but I usually stick to my gongs. But that wasn't right. But Rob, listen, I already assigned the points. That's how the game goes. Rob got 5 points for gong rice. We have to move on. Question 2. When potatoes grow in cool temperatures with sufficient water, they can become dangerous. What happens to potatoes that makes them this way? How do they become dangerous? John, you've got 10 seconds.
They're not dangerous to eat. They are dangerous to store, especially under pressure and without air because of the growing sulfur content.
Oh, they're dangerous to store because they will.
If you store them in an
Smell
airtight
bad.
thing and then open them up, there will be a burst of sulfur which could overwhelm a farm worker or someone transporting them.
Oh,
A gong
burst of
farmer.
overwhelming sulfur for the gong farmers.
Probably not a gong farmer. They're used to it.
Ryan, you've got 10 seconds. What happens to potatoes?
So you can rice a potato, but if you leave a potato growing in cold temperatures too long, it's going to make ricin, and that is very poisonous. The green parts, you got a chip with green in it. It's probably fine, but under the right conditions, lethal ricin, and you eat it. It's a neurotoxin. It'll kill you.
I think that might be true. Rob, what's your answer?
A lot of home gardeners will be surprised if they're in a colder climate because the potato will actually flower and then turn into a fruit that looks like a small cherry tomato. But it's a green small cherry tomato that is filled to the brim with an alkaloid poison called solanine that will cause serious gastric distress, may kill a pet or a child if they don't know any better.
That's tricky. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about potatoes flowering. I'm going to give 5 points to Ryan. I think that sounds familiar. I'm not sure.
Ricin that potato.
I think I've heard that word before.
Small flat rice.
Ricin.
Flat rice.
I'm hearing that ricin.
Turnabout is fair rice, Rob.
In the chat. That really. Who was right?
It was me.
It was Rob.
Will.
Rob was right.
Will.
Yes, misinformation.
This last round's just a whirlwind. I don't know what to say. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna have to make this up to Will actually later on, but let's go to the third question, which is in Major League Baseball. We're back to baseball. Here we go. In Major League Baseball, what is the penalty if a fielder throws their glove at a batted ball or tries to catch it in their hat? First of all, my question is, why aren't they allowed to catch it in their hat? Seems like a cool move, and they're still catching it. Whatever. It's not my base. Ryan, what's the penalty?
So I used to umpire Little League when I was 12 and 13 years old. If you do either of those things, and kids would do this, they would do both of those things. They'd throw the glove. They'd try to catch in their hat. They were dumb kids. It's the dreaded ground rule triple. Ground rule doubles are very common. Like you hit it, it bounces once and goes over the fence. Ground rule double, you get 2 bases.
Oh.
Ground rule triples, exceedingly rare, but if you do those things, they get 3 bases.
Wow.
The batter gets 3 bases. Ground rule triple.
Pretty good. Rob, what's your answer?
This rule was it's a very obscure inside baseball rule that was instituted for a pitcher named Cameron Anderson who would do such things. But effectively, when this would happen, they would be thrown out of the game, and they would have the bullpen would or whoever was thrown out of the game, if it was from the batters, they would have to replace or deal with it with one less player.
Wow.
Just complete removal from the game because it is disrespectful and an obscure thing.
So they either get to go to third base, they get to be out of the game, done, or
hockey style.
John,
You play
what's your answer?
Ryan is 100% correct in that the penalty is 3 bases. So if a fielder throws a glove in the air and it knocks down a ball, whoever hit it gets to third automatically. So ground rule triple is correct. However, because I am even more right, I will explain why that is. It is meant to prevent, it's called the influencing of a ball with a part of the uniform. If you're wearing a glove and catch a ball, that's great. If you take the glove off and throw it, it's the equivalent of throwing a hat, throwing a shirt, doing something to impede the ball. That used to happen all the time, and it actually slowed the pace of play because then people would be like running around without gloves and all of that. But
what if you catch it? What if you catch it in your shirt like a Winnie the Pooh basket?
That is also a ground rule triple. You cannot use your uniform for not its intended purpose.
All right, John. 5 points. That's you went overtime. But
we'll take it.
That sounds
correct.
Right. Yeah. I just really needed to make Will happy on that last one. Let's pull up those bonus round questions. We've got
I almost had it, John.
I know. I had to claw it back.
These two.
I don't know.
A rivalry is birthing here. We've got 15 to 15 to 15. It's a tied game that's going to be decided by the audience. If you want to give somebody a bonus point, go ahead and throw their name in the chat. I'm going to add their bonus point to their score. It is currently a tied score, so the audience will decide the winner and who is graduating tonight from 2MB University. Let's go. We've got time for a few bonus round questions. Let's do it.
Bam.
Where is this, Ryan?
It's in Vermont, man, and all those trees are fucking weeds.
Where is this, John?
It's a mountain range called the Anvil of Hephaestus. It's outside of Athens.
Where is this, Rob?
This is in Topeka, Kansas. They're like 1 or 2 mountain ranges.
Will, where is this?
It's the Adirondack Mountains.
I don't know.
That was
Adirondack.
close.
Yeah.
Getting close. Getting close. Couple points coming in for John. Let's see it. Next question is, what is this, Ryan?
I believe is that the Barclays logo? I think I've seen it on a soccer jersey before.
John, what is this?
Crown Royal logo, usually on the purple felt bag.
Rob, what is this?
An obscure burger chain called Gold Lion that has gone out of business in 2018.
Gold Lion Burgers. Will, what is this actually?
It's a Ritz-Carlton logo.
No.
Ritz-Carlton logo. Wow, really good tries, everybody. Let's do one more of these questions. Here we go. What is this, Ryan?
Oh, that's that's Santa Dank. Santa Dank.
Great answer. John, what is this?
That is Cush Claus, and if you see this on a stamp, don't lick the stamp.
Rob, what is this?
This is from the kids' show The Adventures of Flapjack for their Christmas special, which was banned from TV.
That would make sense.
Will, what is this actually?
This is called Pudsy's Christmas from the TV show Evil on CBS.
Pudsy's Christmas.
Pudsy's Christmas, yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
folks.
Cool.
Obviously.
It is 8 o'clock. It is time to close the show. The audience has decided a winner tonight, graduating with their bachelor's degree from 2MB University is Mr. John Serpico. John, congratulations. You've finally done it. This is John's third game, and you have a degree, John. It only took you 2 extra tries to graduate, but you've done it. Congratulations. Rob and Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Varys, give me back my Billy Ripken.
Better luck next time. Graduating with your respective degrees, folks. We'll see you next week for another round of That
right.
Sounds
Short
Right.
round right.
Short round right.
Short round right.
Good night.
Right.